Okay, I'm back in bed with, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, and it's okay. It's okay. I am going to keep doing this. I don't care who watches. I'm going to start making special videos for the members. And the reason why I haven't done that yet is because I haven't set it up on my laptop. And that has to be done tomorrow. And it's hard. It's hard when you get a new laptop. You have to set everything up again. And it's so much faster and so much nicer. And I can't wait to start school next month again. Start back, I should say. Okay, so we're talking about Hugh Hefner again, but this is episode 5. Probably one of the most disgusting episodes, if that could be. I mean, if there is one. Yeah, I just. Full blown disgust. Just revulsion. Yeah, it was really difficult to listen to it and watch Sandra. Okay, she was 19 when she met him. She went there with a friend, and she was the chosen one. He liked her. You know, she's tall, blonde, beautiful. Typical beautiful playmate. You know, somebody that he needs to have that beautiful woman by his side. And the woman that he was dating before um, wanted an open relationship. And she has said as much. She's like, what the hell was her name? Barbie or. Yeah, I didn't really do my research. And someone's going to say that on here. They're going to say, well, do your research. And I'm going to say, well, go fuck yourself. This is my channel. And sometimes I don't do the research. And it's because usually I don't want this to be like every other channel where someone's reading or memorizing what they're going to say. And as you can tell, I don't do that. I talk to you like I'm in bed talking to a friend. So if you want that type of show, go somewhere else. That's it. Yeah, I've been trolled a lot, and I think I like I said, I know who it is. I'm not gonna say I think I know, but I don't even care. Trolls are so freaking pathetic. It's not even funny. Get a life. I've done research when I need to do research. When I don't, when I want to just talk about the way I feel, this is what I do. So it's episode 5. Hugh Hefner, I guess, is into bestiality. Doesn't surprise me, but it makes me want to throw the fuck up. I have 2 dogs. I've had dogs for years. I'm always going to have a dog. The thought of him forcing himself on Liza, my dog, he would be a dead man. He's already a dead man right now. He's dead. But if when he was alive he did that, it's and you could tell that it upset Sandra. You know, she was so grossed out, but she said, I'd never left my dog alone with him again. I would have left his ass, but you know what? She was 19 years old, this bigger than life figure. At that time, it was like a huge deal. I think it always was on some level, but not like that. Not in the 70s. I think it was the 70s, or no, it was early 80s. And she was just, enthralled. And he chose her out of all the beautiful women, that came to the parties and what have you. That was his choice. So she said she felt like insecure and she didn't feel like beautiful. I don't know how. I mean, looking at her, she's drop dead gorgeous. But yeah, there is a lot of beautiful women, but she's unique. She definitely had this unique quality about her, and she had the innocence. He liked them really young like that, like 18, 19, 20. He doesn't Women our age would never put up with his shit, I don't think. And he would never be with somebody our age. We'd be like the secretary. But even then, we'd still be too old, probably. People, I don't know. He liked very young girls. And he was 50 and she was 19 when they dated. And so she just thought, she has stars in her eyes. She's like, oh my God, Hugh Hefner. He chose me out of everyone. And I think what grossed me out is when they invited, first off, he had this party night. It was called like Pig Night, which is so fucking offensive. It's look at you, motherfucker. It's like he's so gorgeous. I never thought he was cute. I think he looks like a lizard. He's, I never thought he was an attractive man. He never was. And that's how this whole thing started. Somebody rejected him. It's always like that, isn't it? But he treated women like just objects to make money off of or have sex with. And he lived the life seemingly that every man dreams of. He is what I picture the devil to be. Everything in excess. Every just charming somehow. I didn't find him charming. I always thought he was really kind of sleazy and disgusting. I never thought of him as somebody that I would have fallen for. He wouldn't have given me time of day. I did have blonde hair at one point, but if I got fake boobs with the blonde hair and I dressed like a hooker, I would have been in. Sorry, Pamela Anderson. Sorry to the women like that, but those were his types. And this girl, Sandra, she was actually naturally just beautiful. She wasn't like the normal. She wasn't the normal girl that he usually dated. I thought she was unique and beautiful, but that's just me. I don't know. He did have brunettes in his magazine, and it always surprised me when there's this one, and I can't remember her name, but I think I've talked about this before. She was flat chested, had a flat ass, and she's beautiful, but Playboy? I didn't understand. I'm thinking, did she sleep with the guy? And I'm thinking, no, she's classy and she's, you know. But then I hear from so many people that have been in Playboy or gone to parties of Playboy that the girls that make it in the magazine kind of have to put out. It just, so now I'm thinking, okay, she had to do something. There's no way. He likes boobs. He's a boob man. He's also an ass man. She's everything that the magazine is not. She's someone that could have been a high class fashion model, like beautiful. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe, but I do know that he threw these parties. He called them Pig Night, I think. Yeah. And they would pick up prostitutes on like Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, bring them to the house. They would judge them, give them a 5, a 7, a 10. Sometimes just because they were so hideous and ugly, that was entertainment for them. It just makes me sad to think about that. So one night they brought um, Lovelace, over there, and she had done Deep Throat, so she was kind of famous, the most famous porn ever, I think. I'm pretty sure that was the famous, except like Debbie Does Dallas or some, I don't know, whatever. I don't even know if that's the real name, but so she goes over there. Her boyfriend, husband, whoever he is, slash pimp, drugged her up, used to beat her, abuse her. She had a horrible life. I feel so badly for her when I think about her, Linda Lovelace. And she went over there, and Hugh and all of them, they brought in, I think uh, it was a dog, but I'm trying to think of the specific breed. I think it was a German Shepherd. Yeah. And they pretty much made her give that dog fellatio. Suck it off. I can't even think about it. It grosses me out. Just like those women that I think they're forced to have sex with donkeys in clubs in Mexico. What the fuck? And this is a man He told Sandra later about it too. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just watched or whatever." And she's like, "What kind of person are you? You're disgusting." But yet she stayed with him, and it's because he brainwashed her so severely. She was only 19 when she met him, and this probably was when she was like 22 or I don't know, 19, 20, 20. She was with him for like 4 years. So, yeah, who knows? But when you're that young and impressionable, and this guy seems he is at the time very powerful, and he controls you, then what are you supposed to do? Like, where do you go? You don't know anything. She ended up just leaving, just walking out. And it took a lot. It was very brave of her to do that. But he was getting sicker and sicker as far as sexually. He was expecting more because he had everything he wanted. He was bored. And so he would have her go find girls to have sex with. And so, yeah, bestiality was just one of many things that he got into. Somehow there was blood drawn. I don't even know what that was about. They never explained it. They said one prostitute used to come in and take all the men's blood, but then there was like oral sex going on. I don't know where the blood came into it. I don't know. I just know that I knew he was disgusting, and I knew he wasn't for women's, sexual freedom and women's lib or what have you. I always knew that was total bullshit because, and he was very controlling, and you could see that on The Girls Next Door. When you hear Holly talk about it, she was saying that, she couldn't go out, she couldn't have people over. He was very controlling, and only if he went out with them. And he would give them an allowance, and it wasn't like large amounts. It wasn't. I mean, it was a lot for me. Someone like me, it's like, oh wow, I could do with 2,000 a week, but not at that cost, and not having to sleep with that old man. I don't care how famous, how rich. I don't give a fuck. I'm not fucking that man. You know, for 2,000 a week, it's no bueno. It's not going to happen. So after decades of silence, Hefner's former number one, and there's people that have come out, they're like, I can't believe she talked badly about him and blah, blah, blah. People that are defending him. It's like, she has absolutely no reason to make this shit up. She really doesn't. She ended up leaving him, thankfully, at a young enough age where she could kind of come off of it, that lifestyle, the drugs, the weird sex, the bestiality, the controlling bullshit that he put her through, and get married to somebody else, have some kids, and have a normal life, whatever is normal. Everyone has a different version of normal. But why would she come out after all this? And she was in so much pain when she was talking, and you could feel it. And she's still beautiful. I mean, she's like 68, I think. And I think she looks amazing. You could tell she's been through some shit, and she's had some work done on herself. And oh God, I just feel so badly for her. I guess the sex became very painful. And also the fact that she was doing so many drugs and drinking just to numb the pain. And so she developed a kidney infection or a bladder infection. There's something, but she was bleeding. One night she was bleeding a lot and crying. And Hugh was like, I don't want to deal with your issues, or something to that effect. He claims to be so romantic. He claimed to be so romantic and loving, and he loves women, and that's why he wants them to be free to explore their sexuality and all of that bullshit. But the truth was, from day one, he made money off of these women. They didn't make that much. I remember when I tested, that's what they called it, tested with Polaroids for Playboy. And I remember thinking that it was going to be a lot of money. But when they told me how much it was, I think it was like 2,300 at that time. It was probably more later on, but yeah, it was like 2,300. It was the college edition. Yeah, I'm sure if you get a centerfold, it might be a little more. I think it's like $10,000. But even then, is really not that much money considering how much this man brought in. And so I was like, is it worth my brother-in-law jerking off to me in the bathroom? I just remember thinking that, like, oh God, I don't want anyone seeing that. I thought, I don't want anyone seeing this. And it's Playboy. So even if it's the college edition, everybody reads the articles, which is, is funny. Yeah, maybe after they jerked off, they're on the toilet or whatever, and they're like, I think I'll read the article, see what this is about. But I guess he groomed Sandra for his abusive sex life. He also did that. It wasn't just the magazine. It's one thing to have the magazine like Larry Flynn and he had a girlfriend and a wife, I think they did get married, yeah, that he loved and adored, and the magazine was separate from that, even though she helped with the magazine. It wasn't like he mixed everything together. And so with Hugh, it was like he lived it. He lived the Playboy lifestyle. He had the house, he had the women, he had all the famous friends. It's funny because I look at the Playboy Mansion, like let's say the last 20 years, and yeah, there was some people there that, had names, but most of them were kind of has-beens. You know, I it was kind of a disgusting place to be. And I used to get invited and I would, you know, I grew up in that business. Not from a little kid, I was in theater, but I grew up around those people that would go to the Playboy Mansion. And I've told the story already about my friend getting drugged. But I just didn't really want to go. I just thought, I didn't think I would even fit in, to be honest with you. I thought, okay, I have curly, dark hair. I do have big boobs, but they're not fake and all big and perky. And I don't have a fake tan. I just remember thinking about all of that. Like, I'm not going to fit in there. And I don't even, when I go there, this is the thing. This is the thing that no one really talks about, is that if you're into chicks, absolutely go there. Hang out with all the girls, because there's no one else there except sleazy men. Sorry, I said it. Why else would the men go there except to hook up with the playmates? Why else? It's mostly women everywhere. Every time I've seen pictures, it's just a bunch of women dressed sluttier than the next. It's like, let's compete to see how slutty we can dress, or how little clothes we could be wearing, or how bleach blonde our hair could be. It was all so freaking fake. The whole world. It just did not seem like my scene. And it still doesn't. I stand by that. And I don't look down upon those women. I understand why they went there. They've all had dreams of Hollywood and fame. And in their eyes, they're just anybody that's famous. And some of you know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. They didn't care that he hadn't been famous since he was a teenager. They didn't care about that. All they cared about that he was at one time. And he would have anyone there. He he would prefer the high class stars, the ones that are actually working and famous. But yeah, it was usually the ones that used to be famous that hung out there, used to have a show, used to be in movies, used to be a musician. And once in a while, sprinkled in were, people that were just curious, like, well, I'm famous, I've never been here, let me go there. And there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of women, there's, I could see that. I could see why people went. But the people that went on a regular basis usually were has-beens. And it was just all women. And so the majority of those women never got noticed. And so somebody came along and took the ones that nobody else wanted. You know who I'm talking about. Took those ones and were like, I'm going to make them into something. Which was, I could admire that. I could look at that. But it's sad. It's sad to me how many women went there just wanting to be the one, wanting to stand out from all the rest. And you can't really do that. All the girls look the same. They're all the same type of woman. They're beautiful, naturally, without any of the fakeness. Um, but there was a certain look that he liked. And if you look at his history, that's what he was into that. Um, I just, it makes me sad. I wasn't, I didn't think about that being a way in like some women did. Some women wanted to be actors, or they just wanted to be known. They wanted to be famous. But really, how many people came out of the Playboy Mansion and became famous? There's Pamela Anderson. There was Melissa McCarthy's cousin, who she was famous first. I can't remember her name, but yeah, this has been so long. She became famous. Who else? Okay, if anyone knows of any more, please do put their names down to the 20 people that will watch this. But yeah, there was beautiful women there everywhere. He had all the drugs, all the women, every single sin that you could every sin that you could commit, he did it. He was living the life of how I picture the devil living here on earth. He made a lot of money off these women, and they didn't really make shit. And most of those women ended up just either dying of drug overdoses or just tore up, I remember this one in this mobile home park in like San Diego or something, and she died of a drug overdose. And at one time, she was just the shit. And I just remember them saying ex Playboy Bunny, died of whatever. It just made me sad. I thought, I think everyone goes there thinking that their life's going to be better and that these men are going to help them. These ex celebrities, they're going to help them. And some of them are great people, obviously. They're not horrible human beings, and they really did try to help them out. But at the same time, once again, it's using the women to get what they want in life. It's not for the women at all. It really isn't. These women had suffered so much because of him. And there was this one interview, if you watch episode 5, where the interviewer was like, "Oh, why are you what was the term he used? Why are you against bestiality?" Basically, that's what he asked. First off, why would somebody ask that? Because there was no bestiality in his magazines. Bestiality should be illegal. It's animal abuse. It's disgusting. That's how weird diseases get spread. You don't know what you're going to get. Why would a man want to do that? I don't get it. And why would a woman allow herself to be put in that position where she's getting fucked by a donkey? It makes me so sick to my stomach and sad, and I just want to go save them. I know the women can't help it. I know that. I know that they're put in that position. They're owned. Somebody owns them. Somebody's making them do that. They don't enjoy it. And if they pretend to enjoy it, then they're just good actors. Okay, so yeah, basically Sandra's testimony shines a spotlight on Hefner's mechanisms for controlling and breaking women. Yeah. So he was a manipulative, controlling piece of shit. And I'm not going to listen to those that try to tell me otherwise. I'm just not. I'm sure he had a good side to him, but he was like that typical narcissistic, sociopathic, cold, heartless piece of shit. And yeah, maybe he had kids and got married. And he was kind of into it then, because I know he did that. He settled down and got married and had kids. And I just, for the life of me, I don't believe that he ever changed. I think for a time he probably did try. He had that life that was in the spotlight, and he had the parties and all of that. Women, whenever he wanted, weird sex, bestiality. That alone is just reason enough for me to be like, you're disgusting. And it wasn't just him that woman that said it. It wasn't just Sandra. There's other witnesses to that behavior with animals. Are they all lying? Why would they now? What did they get out of that? I don't know. Not much. I think that I believe them 100%. All right, so that is my recap and my opinion about episode 5. So let's see what happens in episode 6. I know. It's exhausting. It really does exhaust me. Makes me sad the most. But yeah, she grosses me out. It's everything about him, especially when he went through that wearing robes and satin. I think were they satin or velvet? I mean, they're probably robes, and then he was smoking that pipe. Like, he just thought he was so cool, He thought he was just the shit. And without all of that money that he made by exploiting women, he would be nobody. Who would he be? And of course, his brother's always there to defend him. But yeah, he was right there with him, doing all of the shit. So of course he's going to defend him. You have to look at the source. These women actually lived it. You have to look at the ones that lived it or the ones that wish they lived it or were there sometimes. I'm sure he was on good behavior a lot of the time. But this is like behind the scenes, behind closed doors type of shit. And so I definitely believe the women, and I think that he he was horrible. If he lived in heaven on earth here, he's definitely in hell wherever he is now. Horrible, disgusting man. But yeah, we'll get into it again. This is just one of many times I'll probably talk about this. I can't wait to see what's coming up next. I mean, if Bestiality was episode 5, and there's going to be more seasons, I hope, because I want to know everything, you know? All right, okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and peace out. I'm going to bed.